Promo-LEX Association experience on the hate speech monitoring in the Republic of Moldova. A little bit about our advocacy activities for change in legislation, and of course about awareness-raising campaigns. So let's start. So what is Promo-LEX? Promo-LEX Association is a national NGO from the Republic of Moldova, and of course here you can see our webpage where you can find more information about us. And Promo-LEX Association mission is to promote democracy and human rights in the Republic of Moldova, including in the Transnistria region. So Promo-LEX operates through two programs, Human Rights Program and Monitoring Democratic Processes Program. The main priorities of the Human Rights Program are promoting and defending human rights in the Transnistria region, preventing and combating gender-based violence, combating torture and inhuman treatment, combating discrimination and promoting equality, promoting and defending freedom of assembly, and of course combating hate speech and promoting clean public speech. So what is Promo-LEX doing on hate speech? In 2017, we organized the first public debate about hate speech in the public space, which was held to present the research analysis about hate speech in the political environment in Romania and in the Republic of Moldova. After this, during 2018 and 2019 period, Promo-LEX Association with Soros Moldova Foundation financial support has started to monitor hate speech and incitement to discrimination. So the result of our activity, I mean the monitoring activity, resulted in 3 reports, one of 2018 and 2 of 2019. Also in 2018, we monitored the hate speech and incitement to discrimination during the World Congress of Families. And after I'll finish my presentation, I'll send you in the message box all the links of our reports in English and version and Russian version. So if you have time, you can see more information about our activities during this period. So here you can see the number of hate speech cases in every year. I mean, in period 2018-2019. In 2018, we monitor hate speech and incitement to discrimination during 6 months. In 2019, this our monitoring period composed from 2 periods of time. In the beginning of the 2019, we monitor hate speech during 3 months, and in the end of 2019, we monitor hate speech during the 4 months. Also, I wanted to present you the number of hate speech cases during this period, only for the most affected groups. I mean, women, politicians, persons with disability, and LGBT people. Of course, we have the author's gender, if you have about distribution of hate speech in terms of author's gender. So if you can see, the main author are men, unfortunately. Yeah. So the main conclusions after 2 years of monitoring hate speech and incitement to discrimination are that general trends of hate speech show a significant increase in just 2 years. In 2018, there was an average of 2 new cases of hate speech per day, while in 2019, the number of new cases per day increased to an average of 4.2. The most affected groups by hate speech are women, LGBT people, politicians, and persons with disabilities, but also we have Roma people affected by this kind of speech. Russian speakers, Romanian speakers, Arabs, immigrants, and more than these 4 groups. Media remains the most important sources of spreading intolerance in public space and the promoter of hate speech, sexism, and other forms of intolerance. So only in 2019, during the 7 months of monitoring, all cases in total, all cases have an average of more than 10 million views. So at the moment in the Republic of Moldova, there is a draft law, number 301, amending and supplementing certain legal acts on regulating prejudice-motivated crimes, which was adopted at first reading by the Parliament in 2016. In 2019, the Ministry of Justice reviewed the draft law number 301, but until now, at this moment, the Parliament did not adopt this draft law. So, if you talk about our activity on hate speech monitoring, I must mention that the purpose of Promo-LEX researchers was to analyze and evaluate the use of discourses that instigate to hatred and discrimination in the public space in the Republic of Moldova, to assess the legislative framework and public policies, the manner in which public authorities react to hate speech and apply sanctions. The dynamics and intensity of hate speech have been analyzed on the basis of the information getting in the public space during the monitoring processes and the media of the Republic of Moldova. In 2018 and in 2019, the monitoring was carried out by 5 or 7 monitors, depends on period, contracted for this activity. And the monitoring activity was based on Promo-LEX methodology for hate speech monitoring in general and in election campaigns. The identified cases were reported through the monitoring questionnaire developed by Promo-LEX Association and include online database created and managed by Promo-LEX. If we talk about our sources subject to monitor, we can see we include not only online media sources, TV channels, but also public statements made by public actors, politicians, and religious actors. To analyze and interpret the data, we have adopted a broad approach to the concept of hate speech, which includes a legal definition of the national and international law, and related concepts such incitement to discrimination, sexist, homophobic, and racist speech, incitement to violence, defamation, and public insult based on the denigration of a group. Of course, we organize different advocacy activities for changes in legislation. Our attention is focused more on the draft law number 301. In 2019 and March 2020, Promo-LEX Association, together with our colleagues from civil society and different NGOs, and of course together with our colleagues from Ombudsman Office and Council for Equality, we participated at public consultation organized by Legal Committee and Committee on Human Rights of the Parliament of the Republic of Moldova. It's very important to mention that from 2016, this draft law was revised, but during this period, civil society promoting different recommendations for this draft law. In last year, I mean from 2019, we promote some amendments on this draft law, which we consider very, very important. And first of all, I must mention that this draft law represents a set of legislative amendments of the criminal and contravention codes. So civil society recommends to exclude the paragraph 2 of Article 346 of the Criminal Code, because from the updated version of the draft law, because it is represent an exception and if kept, this paragraph will not allow to achieve the objectives pursued and the effective regulation of prejudice-motivated crime acts or crimes. So another recommendation was to supplement contravention code at the category of the contraventions that affect the political, labor, and other constitutional rights of an individual, with a new rule which will regulate separately the acts which can be qualified as hate speech and which do not represent crimes. So also in this year, in March 2020, Promo-LEX Association analyzed the necessity to update the electoral code in order to define hate speech in election campaigns and regulate ways of discouraging the use of this speech. At the moment, we know that Central Electoral Commission accepted 90% of our recommendation, and this draft law will be presented to the Parliament, so we'll see what will happen the next time. Likewise, Promo-LEX analyzed the necessity to develop an internal mechanism for monitoring hate speech and collecting disaggregated data on cases of hate speech and broadcasted products by Audiovisual Council. So a few days ago, we received their answer from our colleagues from Audiovisual Council, and we know now that they will try in the next year to find resources to implement our recommendation and, of course, to develop this internal mechanism. Of course, it's impossible not to talk about our awareness-raising campaigns, and I will present just the recent campaigns which we organized. So first of all, this year we organized an online campaign in context of the COVID pandemic. We explain what are hate speech, stigmatization, and racism, and also inform about the hygiene rules. The goal of the campaign was to increase the awareness of the hate speech effects on people infected or affected by COVID-19. So in the right side of your screen, you can see one of our Facebook posts. So it's in Romanian, but in English, it's disinfect your phone and don't spread the hate. So the next campaign which we organized, it's advocacy campaign focused on draft law 301. So from 19 May, we started this campaign, and we wanted to promote the differences between the draft law number 301 from 2016 and the revised draft law, the same draft law from 2019. As I said, it was revised by Minister of Justice. So we realized podcasts with national and international experts and videos which explain the main amendments proposed and promoted by civil society. From June, after 2 weeks, we'll start a new online campaign. It's a general online campaign. And the goal of this campaign is to increase the knowledge of people about the hate speech, affected groups, hate speech against women in election campaigns, how to prevent and how to report hate speech at national level. It's very important to mention that in 2020, Promo-LEX Association continued to monitor hate speech in the public space and mass media in the Republic of Moldova with voluntary support of graduates from Promote, a human rights training program implemented by Promo-LEX. And we share all information about hate speech in Moldova on our Facebook page, Monitor Hate Speech Moldova, created in 2019. At the same time, we analyze the hate speech messages of public actors, politicians, religious actors, opinion leaders, etc. And we have a public reaction on Facebook page, on our page, Monitor Hate Speech Moldova. And I wanted just to show you some examples. So one of the last piece is sexy speech in the parliament, and the author is one of our deputy of the parliament. Another is defamation and public insult based on depreciation and denigration of a group, and author is our Prime Minister of the Republic of Moldova. And of course, we have xenophobic messages too, and the author of this message was our President of the Republic of Moldova. So in conclusion, I can say that not only in the Republic of Moldova, but in other countries, hate speech is usually used by politicians, opinion leaders, religious actors, and journalists. The use of this kind of speech increases, especially during the election campaigns in the Republic of Moldova. At the same time, the COVID pandemic represents a new platform for using and spreading the hate speech. Equality bodies, NGOs, and authorities must be prepared for new situations that may increase the level of use of hate speech as COVID pandemic. And in my opinion, a common platform at the regional level could be useful for the exchange of the experience for preventing of hate speech. So thank you for your attention.